y me encuentro con la estrella de Elysium, el señor Matt Damon. Matt, hi, hola,
Hola.
un placer.
Hola, un placer.
How do you decide to be involved in Elysium? What drew you to this movie?
Well, Neil Blomkamp, the director, once I saw District 9, I freaked out, kind of like all you guys. And I heard about it and I'd read about it, and people were talking about this movie, District 9, and I had just been in South Africa that year, so I went to see it, and it just was, I said, I have to work with this guy. And I didn't know that it would happen, on his next movie. I was very lucky that it happened so quickly, but when I heard he was looking for, an actor, I threw my hat into the ring.
But he told me this morning that you weren't on his mind. He didn't want a Hollywood actor, and then he met you, and I said, okay, let's give him a chance.
Yeah, well, he had all these preconceptions about Hollywood.
Yeah.
He said, I don't want a Hollywood person, and I said, well, why don't you meet Matt? And he's like, I don't want a Hollywood person. I said, well, he lives in New York. Go to New York to meet him. And so we sat down at a diner in New York and just had a cup of coffee and talked, and thankfully, he didn't think I was very Hollywood, I guess. So.
Well, that's nice. At least we got you in the movie. And it looks great. This is a movie, a sci-fi movie about an Earth that is melting down, like, if we can say it that way. And they have social classes, like they have the rich, they have them on Elysium, and then your character. Tell me about your character. Why do your character, Max, decides to go to Elysium?
Well, he's always wanted to go, like just about everybody on Earth. They look up and they see this space station, and they know that life is better there, and so they aspire to go there, but they're not welcome there.
Yeah.
And so people try to sneak in. There's all these ways people try to go, but it's very hard to get up there. But Max, early on in the film, there's an accident at the factory that I work at, and I get irradiated. So now I'm dying. I have 5 days to live. And on Elysium, they have health care, these systems, these med bays that you lie in, and it scans your body and just reatomizes any problem that you're having.
Yeah.
And so now suddenly Max is in a race to get to Elysium. So now he'll do anything, commit crimes, just anything really destructive, desperate things, to try to buy his way up to Elysium.
Do you think that's sometimes like an X-ray of what's happening? Sometimes in real Earth that we're living, the social differences and what people might do just for get what they want?
Yeah, I mean, I think the movie's thematically kind of resonant in the sense that it applies, I think, to the world that we live in. It's a more exaggerated expression of the inequality that exists.
You went to the extremes for this role. You went to Mexico, you filmed in Mexico, and you have yourself...
Well, that's not an extreme, that's great.
That's the part
really
that
nice.
I'm coming to, it's extreme.
Right.
To be in a waste dump, on a waste dump, and work there in that conditions. Why you decided, I'm a movie star, I can do whatever I want, but I want to go there. I want to be part of that.
Well, no one wanted to go there. No, the Mexican crew didn't want to go there. They said,
Really?
who wants to go to a dump? It's terrible. But Neil, we knew, the great thing about Neil was he gave everybody this kind of graphic novel of images of the movie. And so we all knew exactly the movie we were making. And part of it was all really about the contrast of wealth and versus, poverty. And so what better place to stage a big action, sci-fi, futuristic action sequence than in a third world dump? That was a really cool idea, and like everything else in the movie, it's nothing else I've seen in a movie before, and that's why we all wanted to do it.
And that's what we're gonna like it, I'm for sure.
I hope so.
Thank you, Matt. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.